Hello everyone, my name is Kirsten. So last week I did a video based off of my whole college experience. I may as well go ahead and do a little bit of advice for you guys who are in high school thinking of going to college. Maybe you've graduated from high school and you're thinking of going to college, or maybe this is your first year of college and it is something you're not quite used to. I'm here to help you out on this one. Everything from starting college all the way up into graduation. So before I completely begin, if you're new to this channel and if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel with notifications on. I upload brand new videos every single weekend. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and dive right on into this topic. So first things first, you definitely have to start somewhere, and that is, of course, registering for college and classes generally. To start off with how I entered into college, it was actually my last year of high school, and I was recently thinking about going to college simply because I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I just didn't know how to get there. What I did was I somehow applied for tests or some sort of quiz to entering into this community college that I was going to. The first thing I would do is, if you're thinking of going to college, start somewhere pretty small. In this case, definitely try to join a community college, especially someplace that's a little bit closer to where you live. Of course, you're more than welcome to travel out of town just to go to college. Make sure you do your research and really think if this is the type of college for you. Definitely community colleges are a pretty good start. So once you've finished high school and you got your high school diploma, it's definitely a good time as any to sign up once you got accepted into that college. And if, let's say, you dropped out of high school or you didn't get your diploma, then definitely try to reach for a GED before you apply into college. So in terms of like really trying to figure out what classes you really want to apply for, what I would recommend is, if you're entering into college and you're not quite too sure of what classes you're supposed to take or what degree you're supposed to take, my recommendation to you is definitely talk to a career counselor or just a college counselor generally. I'm sure they will help you point out in the right direction. It doesn't matter what degree you're reaching for, you're still going to be taking general education. Maybe some state it's completely different, but the degree that I reached for required a lot of general education, so it was something I never thought of until I just recently graduated. I would recommend that you try to finish all of your general education as much as you possibly can before you try to think about what degree you might want, or maybe a possible certificate or something along those lines. Some people just generally don't know where to go or what to pursue, and that's completely fine. Try to cover as much of your general education as much as you possibly can before you can think about getting a sort of degree of some sort. Definitely try to talk to a counselor about certain classes and what possible degree you might take if you're interested in a particular subject. So talking with a counselor definitely helped me a lot with trying to get through 2 classes as much as I possibly could. Another thing to also keep in mind is, obviously, college is not chicken feed. No matter if it's a community college, a small college, or if it's just a typical university. It's definitely not cheap. So what I would recommend that you do is definitely, obviously, is applying for a FAFSA, and definitely apply for a financial aid. It definitely helps you out so much with like trying to get a scholarship and have somebody help you financially with your classes and your enrollments, that type of thing. Another thing to keep in mind is also, like, let's say for example, if there's certain supplies you need, or if there is some form of books that you need for classes, definitely see if you can find them cheaper elsewhere other than the bookstore, because depending on how expensive that book is, no matter if it's new or used, some of them are like around tens or even hundreds of dollars, which is pretty crazy, some of them. Definitely see if you can try to find something a little bit cheaper online if you can. It will definitely help you out so much in the long run. And of course, if you have very supportive parents with helping you trying to pay for college and stuff, that's pretty cool. But then I know some parents or guardians most likely just can't afford to pay for college or whatever. If you have to take a job to help support the college you're attending, definitely you're more than welcome to if you can. Try to apply for a job that is very flexible with your schedule, with job and college. So definitely try to do that. Work part-time if you have to. It is definitely something to consider, considering how crazy some of these classes can be. Next thing I want to cover is obviously classes and homework. Depending on what instructor you have and what type of subject it is, whether it's English, whether it's science, history, or math, some of the classes can be overwhelming with tests or quizzes, maybe even homework, or just certain projects you have to do in class. My advice to you is don't miss a single class even if you're sick. As much as I had days where I was completely sick as a dog, I still couldn't be able to miss a class simply because I just didn't want to fall behind or whatever. Depending on what project, tests, or subject you're working with. As much as this is pretty much easier said than done, definitely don't worry. You're gonna probably pass the class just fine regardless. But what I would suggest is, depending on which homework is due first, definitely try to work on those projects first before you can work on the sort of later projects that are due a certain day. Do you understand where I'm going with this? As hard as that may seem, you're gonna pass the class just fine. Just do some studying, get some outside help, and I'm sure you will be completely fine. Trust me on this one. I was struggling in my statistics class so bad, and I tried to get some outside help as much as I possibly could. I talked to my instructor if I had to, but definitely try to get some help in some sort of way. So now that we talked about counseling, registration, and classes generally, we are now going to be talking into the whole college life. Now, with college generally, it's nothing compared to high school. That is definitely for sure in so many different ways. You definitely have to work with the homework and projects that are actually due that day, and if you miss having a chance to turn in that particular homework or project, then chances are you can't make up for it unless your teacher is cool enough that they can have like some sort of deadline or some sort. With high school, they're a lot more forgiving on that part sometimes, but with college, it's pretty stressful to think about because once you miss out on a project, that's it. There's no way you can make up for it. You can only try to catch up with the class and the homework and stuff. Obviously, you can't miss any sort of days, otherwise they'll end up dropping you, or you might have to drop out of the class if you have to. When you're in a classroom, there isn't that many disrespectful students compared to students in high school. Definitely for sure, because college is a choice and it's not one of those things where it's like you're forced into being educated. It's not quite as forced as how high school was. College is mainly just a choice that you can make if you want to, of course, further your education into whatever it is that you plan on pursuing. When you take another class, you're waiting a full semester instead of having to wait like about a full year like how high school is. So that's another advantage, is you can wait for a whole semester in order to move on and attend another class. So that is another positive note to think about. Definitely try to take a few classes at a time if you can. I mean, if you want to push yourself into attending more than 2 or 3 classes, that is completely up to you and that is completely fine. However, because of all the homework and projects that are just so much and are just completely overwhelming, I would suggest starting out with like maybe 2 or 3 classes at the maximum. I know that's what I did when I applied for college, and for however long I took just being in college generally, that is definitely what I did. I took 2, maybe 3 at the maximum. Anything beyond that I knew I couldn't handle, so I just took a few classes at a time before I was able to graduate. But anyway, continuing on with where I left off with college life generally, it's very easy to make friends in college than it is with high school. Like I said in my last video, everything is not based off of labels, where you go, or who you're supposed to hang out with, or your crowd, or whatever. It's basically a full community of so many different people, obviously achieving the same common type of goal that you're having. So everybody is in college for the same exact reason. A lot of people are a lot more laid back and outgoing compared to high school. When I was in college, I met a lot of amazing people that I'm still friends with today. It's just a very interesting connection that I had with these people in college than I did with high school. A lot of people in college are really easy to get along with and are completely nice. However, you just don't particularly know about people's intentions, so I would say definitely be careful in that part. Don't let your guard down, or don't go anywhere with that person unless you completely trust them. Don't trust people very easily, because I'm sure you're quite aware that you're not too sure about people's intentions. Not saying that the person you're talking to is a serial killer, but sometimes you just never know. And with this whole little dating thing, to be honest with you guys, I've never dated someone in college. Obviously, I was just too focused on just my schoolwork generally to focus on dating anybody or going to parties or whatever. But from what I could gather, or what I can know generally about like this whole dating hookup culture, as some people tend to call it. So if you're a girl looking to get into a relationship with someone, don't expect a guy to be completely serious with you, because chances are they're not going to be very serious with you, especially if they're new into this whole college community thing. I know this is on the whole fence of just relationship talk generally with college, but just saying, just don't try to be too attached or clingy. Don't expect to have a deep relationship with someone unless that person is willing to. Ask them what their intentions are in your relationship, and if you're cool with it, fine. If not, then I'm sure there's somebody else out there for you. Chances are in college, people are going to be hooking up, so I'm just looking out for you. That includes guys, too. There's a good chance that girls are looking to get laid as well. Just be aware of who you're dating and what their intentions are. And when you go to a college party of some kind, if you're going by yourself, definitely try to be a little bit careful. Don't let anybody pick out a drink for you, because chances are somebody might put roofies in them. You don't want nothing bad happen to you. Believe me on that one. I've never experienced college parties, but based off of what I've heard, stuff like that can happen. And just try to stay safe, and if you're with someone, try to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're okay. So that is another thing I would suggest. I mean, it's kind of weird coming from somebody like me who's never experienced a college party, but just thought I would kind of give that type of advice anyway. So you've been a part of college so long, and you're probably at this point where you're either getting pretty close to graduating, or maybe you've already graduated from college like I have. What I would suggest you do before you graduate, or after you graduate for that matter, definitely try to talk to a counselor. I'm sure they're willing to point you in the right direction of where you can apply to a next college or university, or maybe you're looking into trying to find a job and see where it kind of leads from there. So definitely try to talk to a counselor if you can, or better yet, definitely try to talk to a careers counselor. I'm sure somebody's willing to help you to point out in the right direction. I know that when I graduated, I was having a hard time trying to find a job, and the college I graduated from was kind enough to help me find a job. So definitely it is important to always talk to a counselor about particular job opportunities and that type of thing. So just because you can't find a job, it doesn't mean all hope is lost. Someone will definitely try to help you try to find a job of some kind. The more help you can get with college or counseling, the better it is that you'll be able to find a job. That would be my advice. And try to get as much help as you need from family, maybe friends, or just some kind of college staff. So that would be my advice if you're not sure where to go next, or maybe you're just having a hard time trying to find a job. So counseling is definitely something I would recommend for sure. But other than that, I think that's the only type of advice that I am willing to give. Honestly, I hope this helps you guys out and that you got to learn a bit more information from me about college life and stuff. Comment down below and let me know if there's any other advice that I missed that you're willing to share, or if you have any particular questions about college generally, leave it in the comments down below and I will definitely try to reach back to you and answer as honest as I possibly can. I hope you feel somewhat informed, or I hope this helps you out so much. If you did, be sure to sucker punch that like button down below. And of course, if you haven't already, please do dedicate the time and effort to subscribe to my lovely channel, join my little army of darkness, and if you hit that notification button, you will be updated with brand new videos every single weekend. If you guys are interested in following me outside of YouTube, all of my social medias will be listed in the description box right down below if you are indeed interested in checking them out yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a completely chill week, an awesome day or night, and I will talk to you all soon in the next video. So until then, stay completely dark and so fucking brutal and awesome, my friends. Take care. Bye for now.